In the dim glow of his desk lamp, Elias traced the cracks in his office cubicle with tired eyes. The clock on his computer screen blinked 2:14 a.m. His fingers, calloused from typing, hovered over the keyboard as he swallowed another sip of bitter coffee. The office was silent, except for the hum of servers in the basement below, a mechanical heartbeat that mirrored his own. Elias had not slept properly in 14 months, not since the doctors said the word leukemia. Not since his daughter Lila, age 6, began losing her hair to chemotherapy. His savings had evaporated within weeks. Insurance covered pills, not hope. Experimental treatments in Switzerland did not come cheap, so he worked. By day, he processed insurance claims at a soul-crushing corporate firm. By night, he took freelance coding gigs, his laptop balanced on hospital trays as Lila slept fitfully beside him. His co-workers whispered about his hollow cheeks, the tremor in his hands, the way he sometimes stared at the wall as if deciphering ghosts in the plaster. But Elias no longer cared about gossip. Every keystroke was a penny earned, a second bought for Lila's fragile life. To combat the fatigue, Elias invented games. He'd tally the hours he stayed awake into Fibonacci sequences. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. He'd calculate how many words he typed per minute. 0.03 per word, 82 words. 246, 1/500th of a treatment dose. When boredom threatened to derail him, he'd visualize Lila's laugh, the one she'd had before the diagnosis. Bright and unburdened, and let the guilt of its absence sharpen his focus. But the mind bends under relentless pressure. One night, Elias began seeing patterns in the chaos. Strings of code morphed into equations that seemed to pulse. Time, money, life. Spreadsheets bloomed into labyrinthine maps, their cells plotting a path to Zurich. He started hallucinating Lila's voice in the whirring of the office printer. "Keep going, Daddy." On day 422, Elias collapsed at his desk. His forehead struck the keyboard, inputting a jumble of characters that looked like a scream. When he awoke, his manager stood over him, offering a stress leave. Elias refused. Vacations were for people who could afford to pause time. That night, he opened Lila's journal, a purple notebook she'd filled with drawings of dragons and planets. On the last page, she'd scribbled in wobbly letters, "Daddy's superpower, he never stops." Elias wept, the first tears he'd allowed himself in a year. The next morning, he sold his car, moved into a cheaper apartment, and tacked Lila's journal page to his cubicle wall. The hallucinations worsened. Numbers bled into colors. Deadlines hissed like serpents. Yet Elias clung to two anchors: Lila's photo in a dented tin paperweight and the countdown on his phone, 47 days to funding goal. He learned to mute the monotony by focusing on tactile details, the click of the mouse, the weight of his wedding ring his wife had left when the bills mounted. But he refused to resent her. In the final week, Elias worked 93 hours straight. On the last night, as he transferred the final payment to the Swiss clinic, his vision fragmented like shattered glass. He collapsed again, this time into a dream. Lila, whole and radiant, chasing butterflies in a sunlit field. When he awoke in a hospital bed, an email glowed on his phone. Treatment approved. Flight booked. 2 years later, Elias sat beside Lila at a park, watching her lick strawberry ice cream, a luxury he once couldn't spare. Her hair had grown back in wild curls. The doctors called her recovery miraculous. Elias knew better. He still worked relentlessly, now saving for her college fund. But sometimes, when the fatigue whispered, he'd open the old journal page and remember. Persistence is not the absence of breaking. It is the mending that follows. And in those moments, he allowed himself to rest.